The first thing I want to say about this right off the top is that the void is actually a very powerful place, and there is a lot of expansion taking place when you're in the void. And sometimes in our spiritual movement, our spiritual evolution, it's when it feels like nothing is happening that the most is actually happening. So the void, feeling stuck, these are all really positive signs that your progression on the spiritual path has really come a long way. For you to even have the consciousness that you're even in a void-like space is a huge realization in and of itself. So I just want to point that out, that this is not a negative thing, this is not a bad thing, but I empathize with you and sympathize. I know what it's like to be in the void. I've been in the void a little bit these last few days, and I've previously, if you've watched this channel, I've been in voids for months and months, so I know how frustrating it can be. That's why I'm making this video, is to really give you some simple advice, some simple pointers that have helped me to reconnect with that source energy, with that flow state when I've felt stuck in the void. Tip number 1, surrender into the beingness of the void. Come to a place where you don't find the void frustrating and unnerving, and like you just, when we're in the void, sometimes we get this irritation, this restlessness. Instead of going with that energy, allow it to be there, observe it, but let go into the void, let go into beingness. If you read any Dr. David Hawkins books, Power versus Force, he talks about how being is actually the highest frequency state that a human can be in. He talks about how there's having. First we want to have things, and we define ourselves by what we have. Then we want to do things. We want to do really amazing things and have amazing accomplishments, and we define ourselves by what we do. But finally, it comes down to being. And that's the highest state, and then we become defined by who we are. So if you can find that state of being and really sink into it and embrace it and just let go into it, you'll find that your vibration naturally starts rising. And as it starts rising, guess what? Inspiration comes, creative energy comes, connection comes, movement comes. So the worst thing we can do when we're in the void is just resist it and say, it shouldn't be like this. I don't want to be here. Because then we're just going to stay there for longer. But when we surrender into it, when we surrender into the nothingness, that's when connection, and that's when our vibration rises. It's when we fall in love with beingness. Tip number 2, you might be asking, okay Matt, letting go, that sounds great. How do I do it? Here's how you do it. This is the most powerful thing I've ever learned on the spiritual path, by far. It got me through my darkest days when my Kundalini first activated and my life was chaos and I was in a hell state. This one practice I'm going to share with you got me out of a hell state, a hell realm. Here's what you do. You go, you lay down. Just lay down somewhere. It could be on your yoga mat. That's the best. If it's not a yoga mat, your bed is just fine. Your bed is wonderful too. You lay down and you just spread your arms and legs out. You just fully lay out and you just completely let go of everything. You don't try to meditate. You don't try to focus on anything. You don't try to go into your body, nothing. You just you don't try to open, you just let go. You let go, you let whatever's in here, you let the energy move how it wants, you let emotions come and go, and you're just there. You don't even try to be aware in this state. You don't try to even be present. You just completely let go of anything at all, like literally anything, and you just let the energies, you let the emotions, you let the pain, the trauma, whatever's arising for you, you just let it move. Sometimes you might feel energetic surges rush through and maybe even like shoot out of you. That's happened before. You're going to feel intense releases in this state of just completely just laying there. Like literally let your body go limp as if you were dead. Your body's just completely limp. if your brain wants to think, let it think. You don't try to control the brain. Don't even try to observe thoughts. Just literally completely let go. Just be laying there like you're dead and just let everything do what it wants. The thoughts, the movements, the energies in your body, everything. If you do this for 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, you are going to notice so much more source energy, so much more like of this life source energy. You're going to feel more connected to your life force than ever. Because so often when we get into spirituality, we make it about achieving something. We make meditation about getting to a certain state. And what this does, it actually closes us and blocks us off and disconnects us from that spiritual source energy that we are. But when we just completely let go, what happens is all the layers of programming, all the layers of unconsciousness, pain, and trauma that are keeping our heart closed, that are keeping us from connecting with Source, all of that comes up to the surface and releases because there's no resistance. The mind isn't in the way anymore because we are completely surrendered and we're completely letting go. And this is such a powerful place to be. And it takes a little bit of practice. It might be, it might take you a few tries to really get to this place where you're totally letting go, but that's okay. Stick with it. Even if it takes you 20 minutes to get to this place for 1 minute, that 1 minute you're going to experience something, a totally different dimension within yourself. Something is going to shift for you, I promise. If you can get to that place where you just close your eyes, you go completely limp, and you just let go of everything. Just let go of trying to control anything. And you might feel this really sharp panic or terror arise at when you truly are letting go, because there's just been this part in you that is always wanting to grab on and hold on and stay in control. So as you truly do let go in this place, fear might arise, but just stay open. Let that arise. Stay in a place of letting go, of complete openness and surrender. And you'll notice how just these layers start coming up. And you don't have to do anything. They transmute and release all on their own. And after this, you're going to feel a totally different movement in your body. You're going to feel lighter. It can be challenging, don't get me wrong. It can be very hard because it's going to be really intense, especially your first few times. But stick with it, and you will reap the amazing benefits of this movement. And my final tip, if you're feeling stuck and in the void and just without energy, or if you're feeling like you're in a holding pattern, is yoga and dance. Yoga and dance, they just have a way of really getting the energies to move within you. They just have this beautiful way of aligning the body, especially yoga. That's really what it's intended for. Yoga actually was intended to help the body just sit longer, because when we're just sitting with a straight spine, that's actually one of the most powerful yoga poses there is. So a lot of yoga is just designed for simply getting the body in a place to where it can sit for a longer period of time. So yoga really has a way of just getting the spiritual juices flowing, and especially dancing with really high vibrational music. These are excellent ways to help yourself out of a void. So I hope that this video is helpful for you guys if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling in this place of nothingness without that spiritual energy that we all love so much. I thank you all so much for watching this video. I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Namaste.